Hey everybody, my name is Darnell Hart and I am here in Bearden Park. We're going to talk briefly about showing up in the mundane and what that looks like. Many people in scripture live in ordinary lives. There were really nothing spectacular about their lives when you look at so many people that God had used in a mighty way. You can look at Gideon. He was at a threshing floor when God called him and told him that he was a mighty man of valor. So in that season of the mundane, you have to understand that that's where you're going to get your identity. God's going to give you a dream and a vision that's so big and complex that you cannot do it in your own strength. We look at the story of David in the sense of he was told at a young age, a teenager, that he was going to be a king of Israel. But yet, after he goes out and defeats a giant, he goes back to doing what he was mundane things. If David didn't go through that season of the mundane and the season of taking care of sheep, then he would have been the next Saul 2.0. So therefore, you have to go through that process. You have to go through the pruning. Same thing with Jacob. He served Laban for 14 years off of sneakiness and deception. You might be in a situation where you're working for a boss or you're working for someone who's, that they're not really taking care of your needs and and everything that you want to do. Be patient. Patience is a virtue, is everything in this season. But in that season of mundane, you have to be doing things in order to prepare yourself for the next season. So many times we want to have a 30-year ministry and only prepare for 3 years. But when Jesus when he did it, he prepared for 30 years and his ministry was 3 years, but you look at the effectiveness of it. I talked about Gideon, I talked about David, I talked about Jacob, talked about Jesus. It's like, what was going on in those seasons birthed something that was so grandiose and so we only see what they were on the championship level. We only see what they were where the stage and the lights were on them, but we never get this. The Bible really says little to nothing about what it looked like when they were actually in that season of serving. In those seasons, you're going to gain weight. In those seasons, you're going to gain muscle. You have to be prepared for the blessing. We're Bearden Park. You have Panther Stadium. You got Knight Stadium. For an athlete, for anyone who's doing or wants to be great at their craft, there's not a day go by that they're not practicing their craft. But you can't see it with your eyes. But in those seasons, you have to do what waiters do, and that's serve. If you're not doing it now, you're not going to do it when you get to the next season. When you don't show up in those seasons, it's a cost to it. But you didn't show up in the off season. What we see in preseason, what we see on game day is only a representation of what they did in the season when no one was watching. Champions are not made on game day, they are exposed. Once you understand that, you will understand the joy of this season and the process. But you have to be like Enoch, and you have to get to the point that when you walk with God, and to the point that when those seasons are, the joy of the Lord is in it. So whether you're washing the car, whether you're washing dishes, or whether you're taking the kids to school, or whatever that looks like, you have to know in your heart to know that it's going to happen. But it's not going to happen if you don't show up now. And you can do it, and you could go out there on your own strength. But I tell you this, wherever you achieve in your own strength, you have to be in your own strength to keep it rest in God, and he will be able to do the very things he's called you to be. So with that, peace.